Hello, Sharif here. And it's really good for me to be doing this live. Uh, when you do things on tape, it's like, oh, I didn't like the way I said that. So you do it again and do it again. And live means you have to approach the material very differently. You approach your day very differently. Hello to the day. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be doing this work with you. And I want to see what, kind of the world brings us now. I have a very strong intuition that things are about to change in the very, very near future. Now, you heard me say when I did the series of videos on the wave, that things will be changing soon within the next 6 months to a year or so. And they did. But this is like really, really soon. Kind of literally hold on to your hats and let's see what we can make of our existence here. More to say about that, but first let's start our meditation. And 5 minutes feels like a good settling time for us. And I haven't heard any, well, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any complaints. I also haven't heard any praise for it. So we're going to do 5 minutes, and I'm going to call you back when 5 minutes is up. If you wish to close your eyes, you should do so now. Um, get yourself situated, square up your body. Start drawing your breath out, really deep breaths. Start to feel the difference in your time. Start feeling time working with you and for you. Nice, deep, slow breaths. Feel your consciousness linking up and connecting with others. Feel yourself releasing your solo identity and embracing your connected and holonic identity. Nice slow breaths. You fall into your rhythm. So take your peace and take your calm with you as we start to come back to our center. Start to open your eyes. And when you are ready, let's come back to our work here. In our work today, and remember, there's Monday and then there'll be Friday. No more Wednesdays. Um, our work today is looking at our 10-month journey to a new reality. What the heck do I mean by that? I've been looking at some things regarding our next steps, regarding my next steps, regarding the new book that I'm. It's still due out by before the end of the month, and I'm hoping that I will have the sales mechanisms working by the end of this week, so that you can start buying your own copy. Um, Yay! But I started thinking about what happens with this. And what needs to happen with this book is different from some of the other books I've written. This one, I think all of my books are important. I think all of my children are beautiful. But there's this one is answering a lot of the questions that we should be having about what is the nature of the society that we're going to be looking at. What are we trying to create? If we don't have an answer for that, the answer will be anything and nothing. You'll remember these people here in the image I showed you from the movie Deep Impact. Remember, that entire traffic jam are all actors and they're all extras. And it's not CGI. It is a real, honest to goodness, 22-mile traffic jam. And that is your default position, somewhere toward the middle there. And I shouldn't be laughing, but I am, because the people in this image had 18 months to get their act together and waited until the absolute perfect last minute to start panicking and running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Now, the only difference between you and them is that you've had longer. You've had longer to get your fecal matter together, and we have not taken advantage of that longer. There's a reason we haven't done that. The reason is you don't believe it's going to happen to you. You firmly believe it's going to happen, but in some way you are going to magically avoid that. Okay, so none. I'm not going to say there's no magic. There's not that kind of magic that's going to get you away from your own get you away from your own choices, the choices that you're making. So one reason is you don't feel like you don't feel like dealing with it. It's too hard to think about. Um, I'll let Sharif think about it, and he'll tell me when I need to do something. Okay, you need to do something. I just told you. Um, so what we're going to do, what I am going to do, let me start in another direction. One of the things I'm writing about in the book right now, the book that will be ready in a week or two, one of the things I'm writing about is the how a bunch of guys getting together in a steamy room in Philadelphia a few hundred years ago created a nation. And they did it with great um, forethought. Uh, when they actually wrote their document, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, they put in what I think is the most important, well, second most important line in the document. They said, "When we do this, we're doing this with our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." What are you doing? What are you committing to? That you commit your life and the lives of your children to it. Your fortunes. I mean, yeah, all that money you got in the bank, all of the CDs and all of the 401ks and all the other stuff that you got piled up all around the place. What are you committing that to? Well, we know you're committing it to your own welfare and your own comfort. Okay. Is that what you're here for? Is that the purpose of you being on the planet right now? And your sacred honor, how do you exercise that in the world? How do you look people in the eye and say, I'm here as a spiritual being, and this is how I exercise my spirit? What you see me doing right now is the exercise of my spirit. What you see me doing is the exercise of our spirit. Well, um, if you can say that, great. If you can't say that, then 10 months from now you will be able to say it. Because the things that I'm putting in place right now in terms of my life, my fortune, my sacred honor is to get us to the point where those folks on July 4th, 1776 were able to say, yep, we did it. We got a new country. So in March of 2024, I want to convene the first of our Holonic gatherings. And this is, and I'm, in the past, I've called these awakening centers. And I kept saying, I hope there's a better term for that. And I really hope there's a better term for it, because with all of the confusion of the left and the confusion of the right around this term called woke, I'm tired of dealing with little cutesy, buzzwords. It's time for us to get serious about what we're doing. Um, and if awakening isn't the term, then let's make it something else. Okay. So who will be coming to this entity to create another society and another reality? Who's going to come? Well, there'll be some people from this country, and there'll be some people in other countries, and hopefully these holonic consciousness gatherings, these gatherings to create a new governance structure for humanity, are going to take place in several different locations around the world. Will they be simultaneous? It, how do you want to organize it? Will they be structured so that we can go around the world to each one of these things? How do you want to organize it? One of the most important things that, and this is me spending the last, let's say, 40 years or so trying to structure something like this. One of the most important things is, how do you get enough people sharing enough consciousness to be able to pull this off? There have been many, many, many attempts at getting a critical mass together to move forward. When we've done that, and I can name off of the tips of my fingers half a dozen different activities over the course of the past 10, 20 years or so, all geared toward, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And in each one of the situations, in each one of them, people walk into the new reality, the new consciousness, with all their old baggage packed. The old baggage is packed, tagged. We got little roller wheels on it. I mean, your baggage is ready to roll. They walk into with it with their same fears. They walk into it with the same greed. They walk into it with the same biases. They've done nothing to clear that garbage out. They walk into it with the same old vision that doesn't work. And so how do we get to the point where we stop doing that? Well, what we do, what I am going to do, is take the next 10 months to help us get through all that. For you, all of you, to help me get through all of that. For us to get to the point where we can talk with each other, we can live together, we can exercise our spirit together, even though we don't agree with each other on various issues. We can let go of all the stuff that we're supposed to be fearing, and we can get to the point where when something happens, and I'm telling you, it's imminent, it's getting closer. When it happens, we aren't going to be the ones in that crowd running around trying to save our lives, threatening our lives by trying to save our lives. And I'm just going to write myself a note because there's something I want to talk about, and I'm going to see if I can squeeze it in today. What the Buddha said about the 5 levels of humanity. But before I get to there, so over the course of the next, between now and mid-March of 2024, we're going to have a number of monthly gatherings. And in the monthly gatherings, each one of them is going to cover what I consider to be an essential question or essential issue that we as human beings have to deal with. One of them is going to be the 12 global challenges. And you will remember that I talked a bit about this before. These are the 12 things that every human being on our planet is dealing with to some degree or another. So if you look at issues like security or water, What we deal with here in Portland, Oregon, with water being blessed by two giant rivers, is very different from what someone in Cape Town, South Africa deals with water, and they don't have enough. But we're all dealing with it. This is something that brings all of our humanity together because we all deal with water. We all deal with food. We all deal with energy. We all deal with health. We all deal with all of these 12 global challenges. And we will explore each one of these and then explore together how we can use this as a way of rewriting our issues, to stop talking about non-issues, to stop talking about issues that I will never ever face this as an issue in my life. Or if I do face it, it's inconsequential. Who cares whether or not, you know, I do the shaving on my poodle and make it look like a poodle as opposed to something else. Okay, we are the ones who will be dealing with the real issues, the issues that should be bringing us together, not the issues that are taking us apart. And we will, over the course of the next 10 months, we'll all get focused in on each other and on ourselves to the point that we start seeing that there is a common vision for humanity. And we, not the Democrat and Republican parties, we, not some ethnic group or some religious group, we are the ones who will be carrying that forward and acting as the facilitators of a common consciousness. Once we do that, we then can turn to ourselves, and we have a group of people. We can turn to ourselves and say, wait, we're the ones that are moving this forward. It's one thing to say we should have an alternative economic system. The one we've got was stolen a long time ago. It's broken almost to bits. And it feeds our fears and feeds our greed, but doesn't feed our bodies and doesn't feed our souls. So we don't need it. We can do something different. Now, how radical does that sound? So our challenge is, how do we, in a very short period of time, I didn't even say a year, 10 months from now, have a gathering of people and have that gathering be as momentous as the gathering in Philadelphia with the Continental Congress that launched us in a whole new direction. And to have that gathering not just of Americans. We're not the majority on this planet. But to have a gathering that allows us to be human in ways that we've not been able to be human before. To let go of old past hatreds, to let go of old past separations, to let go of the old fears and the old greed, and to say this is time for a new day. Within this time period, you'll be able to get some very good, what I hope is very good information. You'll be able to connect with each other in some very powerful ways. And you'll be able to be the leader and facilitator of a small Holonic group, small being 5, 15, 500, I don't know. Um, but each one of us becomes a leader and brings that holonic energy into the point that we start steering the course of humanity in a completely different way. We start talking about being a colony. In a colony, every element of that colony works hard for the colony, not for themselves. Um, One of the problems that I've had over the course of the last 30 years or so that I've been doing this, or 40 years, it's hard to look back that way, um, is that there are some people who do work with me, and they take it deep, but they don't take it, they don't see the totality of the work. They don't see all of the work. They see, um, if they do work with me around consciousness, they see this consciousness piece, but they don't see the deep identity work. They'll do deep work with me around inclusivity, but they won't see anything about governance. And so so what happens over the next 10 months is my attempt to get all of us on a clear playing field, so you can see what the whole problem looks like. Now, of course, that doesn't mean I know everything. It does mean I know a little bit about enough things to be able to get enough of the right people in the room to start the process of our coming together this way. Um, Let me talk about something that was taught to me some time ago, that was taught to me as one of the Buddhist teachings that I've never been able to find anywhere else. So I'm taking this. I'm saying that this was given to me as a Buddhist teaching, but even if it's not from the Buddha, it's still valuable. So you can take this as Mr. Ugala's training, and even if he doesn't, he's passed now, but even if he didn't want to own it, I'll own it. So this is a really good training, and it's only going to take 5 minutes. Okay, 7. This has to do with the 5 levels of humanity. And my teacher in Sri Lanka said that there are 5 levels of humans: lower, human, great, noble, and divine. And he says each of these 5 different levels is a level of consciousness energy. So the question is, how much consciousness energy do you have? Okay, so if you take somebody who sits in front of a television set all day long, can of beer in their hand, smoking a cigarette, watching whatever comes past them, okay, they are not really human. They're not fully engaged in terms of being a human being. And so this is the first level, and it's called the lower level. This is lower than human. This person may have a human form. They may be able to make words come out of their mouths. But in terms of the things that make us human, they are lacking in them. They're not able to respond. They can only react. And by react, that generally means if you present them with something desirable, I want it, and I don't care what the consequences are. If you present them with something that is fear-inducing, I don't want it, I want you to keep this away from me, and it doesn't matter what the consequences are. That the person is motivated by greed on one side and fear on the other side. That the person, this kind of a person, cannot form a community. They form a herd. And like a herd animal, if the herd gets excited, they start running in any direction. The herd can hurt itself by running around being, think theoretically, trying to save themselves. Uh, yeah, this is herd behavior. This is how a herd acts. Do nothing for 18 months, sit around and munch on grass, and then, run, and then die. Um, okay, that's the first level. My teacher said that it's like being walking through a room that's lit with a 25-watt bulb. He said it's got some light in it, but you can't really see things really well, and you go around, bumping your shins on the furniture a lot. So that's the first level. Second level of human of is the second level of human beings is the first level of your humanity. Being that the first level, he said it's like walking through a room lit by a 100-watt bulb. You can see things. You don't bump into things as much. That this is the first level where you can voluntarily say, I'm not going to satisfy that greed. Yes, I want that chocolate chip cookie that's waiting in my kitchen for me, but I'm not going to eat it today. I'm not going to eat it tomorrow. I'll eat it some other day. I'll delay my gratification. Yes, something may happen to me that induces pain. I may have a trip to the dentist. That's going to be the trip to the dentist is almost always painful, but you are, but your the pain is necessary for you to become a better person. Okay, so the challenge is, at the first level of being human, can I delay my gratification? Can I consciously embrace my discomfort to be a better person? So this person is the first level of having enough consciousness energy to be a full human being. Okay. Third level is great. And this is the first level where the person has more consciousness energy. They are overflowing with consciousness energy. You know these people when you see them. Okay. People generally feel good around them. Okay. And you don't know why. And they don't know why either. This is not a very conscious or cultivated thing. They just have a lot of energy. And you tend to want to be around them. You tend to want to have interactions with them. And they tend to attribute it to, yeah, I'm easy, I'm outgoing, I like people like me, etc. And they attribute it to, oh yeah, I work out, or I do like, but it's just something about the level of energy that they've got that you will you will magnetically be gravitating toward them. The third level of, okay, so you got lower is number one, human is number two, the third level is great. The fourth level is noble. And this is where not only is the person overflowing with consciousness energy, they know it. They know that there's something going on, and that knowing is something that keeps them relatively humble, relatively satisfied. They're not out trying to get fame, fortune, money, power, sex, etc. They're not out there doing that. They figured out how to get satisfied inside a lot. Um, and at that point, their focus is really, how can I help others? How can I help my family? How can I help my friends? How can I help my loved ones? How can I help um, humanity in general? How do I, these are people who dedicate themselves to a rainforest or dedicate themselves to, saving certain animals and things like that, because that's where their consciousness is. And they can do that because, in general, they are satisfied themselves. They are brimming with consciousness energy, and they take that energy and they learn how to feed themselves by feeding others. And then you've got the fifth level of consciousness energy. And the fifth level of consciousness energy is where the Jesuses and the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas and the other spiritual beings hang out. These are the people who consciously think about, plan, and make decisions to be on Earth. These are people whose energy is such that they could transcend to any other dimension they want to. And they hang around on Earth to help the rest of us out. And we should be saying thank you to them. And now, for each one of us, now there may be other levels. Those are the only ones that we can see. Once, if you hit a sixth level, you become multidimensional, and you just kind of flicker out of existence here on 3D plane. But for those of us who are still attached to the 3D plane, those are the ones that we can see. Now, there are lots of folks who are on a higher level, but they want to be herd masters. That's what I call the Democratic and Republican parties. They don't want their followers to wake up. What they want to do is manage them. They want to manage their fears and insecurities. They want to manage their greed. They want them to be greedy about the stuff they want. They want them to be greedy about. What we want is for people to start living as a colony, where all of us are committed to the health of all of our human communities, that we're all committed to the health of all of our communities. And once we get to that point, we can start talking about, how do we increase the life force of our planet? How do we increase the life force so that instead of trashing this planet and then going over to Mars and trashing that one, which we're already doing, have tons and tons of techno garbage on the planet Mars, and more to come. One of the rover cameras, I don't know which one. I don't know which ones are active nowadays. About a week or so, took a picture of a piece of human garbage that was blowing in the wind on Mars. We have created pollution on this planet, on the moon, and we've got trash blowing in the wind on Mars. I don't see why in the world we think that consciousness that does that, that can do that, is civilized in any way. It's time that we got civilized. Okay, let me wrap things up here. You'll be getting more information about our 10-week sprint to a new reality. You'll be getting that in over the course of the next week or two. I want to finish the process of restructuring um, this live stream by the end of um, June, right in time for the book to come out, and be going into July and August and September. As I said to you before, I want to spend some time on the big ticket issues, 60, 90 minutes a month, where we take to take on the 12 global challenges, take on solutions beyond diversity, um, to do that in a really organized fashion so that you get certified in it so that you can then do those things. I want to spend some weekly time, 30 minutes or 60 minutes, doing short summaries of those big ticket items, having discussions, having questions, having this would be interactive time with us. And okay, so monthly, got that. Weekly, got that. The one I don't got right now is I want to do daily shorts, 1 minute, 3 minutes a day. You take a theme, you talk about it for 1 minute, you're done. People tend to get that information, but the question is whether the first question is, can I just talk for 1 minute? That's going to be a real challenge. But the real question is this material, can it be organized in that way? I don't have an answer for that right now. So I am doing this level of work. Over the course of the next 10 months, the subjects we're going to cover is 12 global challenges. What does the sacred mean? And that's, again, we're not talking about religion. We're not talking about your spiritual, your understanding. We're talking about how do you practice your spirituality in the world. Are we talking about consciousness? Are we talking about shadow to light? I'll be talking a lot about inclusivity. We'll be talking about alternative forms of governance, alternative forms of economics. We're going to be talking about deep identity and what that means in terms of shaping a global culture. This is the first time we get to shape a global culture. We'll be talking about some other kinds of things also. I'll have a whole list for you by the end of this month. And we'll all be able to take all of these things together. It's all going to be in a situation where it will be affordable by paying for it, and affordable by doing work study for it. It will be a source of us coming together that I'm going to be really looking forward to. And I'm looking forward to getting your questions, your thoughts, your comments about this. Here we go. Looking forward to it. May all beings be well. May all beings be secure. And may all beings be happy. Thank you. And see you on, not on Wednesday, but see you on Friday.